Sister Wives, season 17, episode 7, The Failed Priest. Did you watch it? To me, it was honestly kind of a boring episode, but there is some stuff to discuss and some interesting information came out this weekend that, at least for me, makes me feel a little better about watching this show. So let's just talk about all that. Okay, to begin with, this is one of the only episodes where Mary says something that I just super duper agree with. I don't have the exact quote, but basically she says, Coyote Pass, in one of her interviews, she says, Coyote Pass is the furthest thing from my mind because we have so much family stuff to figure out. And I was like, yes, Mary, for the first time. Yes, Mary, you are on the money. Any conversation about Coyote Pass right now is it just feels dumb. It just feels ridiculous to me. The family is falling apart. Everybody is just devastated this season. Who cares about Coyote Pass? Another big part of this episode was continuing the conversation that happened last week when we learned that Truly accidentally heard Christine talk about moving to Utah. And so this episode, we get the follow-up to that. Of course, Christine is being a great mom, and she just really talks about being caring and thoughtful about how she talks with Truly about this. And then to juxtapose this, be on the total other side of this, is Cody, who, as we said last week, is just a lazy father. He says that when he talks to Truly, Truly said she was fine. And then the best thing ever, I mean, in terms of just watching the show, I feel bad for the actual human. I feel bad for Truly that she has to experience this on TV. But as a member of the audience, I am grateful that they had her talk. She had her own interview today, or in this recent episode. She said that basically her father came over, asked her if she was okay. She said, yeah. And she said, he didn't ask me anything else, and that was it. What? This is, I think at the time she was 11, an 11-year-old child who is watching her family just fall apart. That deserves a follow-up question, Cody. One last thing to talk about in this episode. There was a lot that happened, of course, but this one last thing. And then we're going to talk about what we have learned recently that makes me feel a little better about continuing to watch this show. So the big thing this episode was that Cody was officiating his friend's wedding. And Cody cannot help himself, I guess, but to just push the blame onto everyone. It was just a moment that really struck me. So he's driving from Flagstaff to, I forget if the wedding was in Oklahoma or Texas, but he's driving some distance. And he doesn't know what he's going to be saying at the wedding, even though he's officiating it. He does put some blame on the bride and groom. He says that he's having a very hard time finding the words to say at this wedding, and that the bride and groom didn't give him much information. Cody, it's he just cannot help it. So those are my takeaways from the episode, but this is what happened this weekend that just makes me feel a little bit better about watching this show. So if you're into the Sister Wives world, which if we're in conversation right now, then you probably are, then you probably know that Sister Wives is what we're seeing now actually happened a year plus behind, right? It's very late. The show is very late in letting us know what's going on. If you really want to know what the family's up to, then you got to follow them on social media. What I've heard, they are all posting pictures this week of Logan's wedding from this weekend. And you might know, Logan is Cody's oldest child. This is his child with Janelle. So he got married this weekend. The whole family was there. And what's interesting, though, is the pictures of Cody. All right, so Cody is father of the groom. Typically, the father sits in the front row with the mother. Whether or not they are married or divorced, whatever, they are still the mother and father. And typically, they sit in the front row during the ceremony. Well, the pictures that are circulating show Cody sitting in the back of the ceremony next to, you already know, next to Robin. This tells me, this is what I think. Of course, there's no confirmation, but this is what I think. Janelle must have left Cody. She must have. And we know that Cody cannot handle that rejection. He can't handle that well at all. So Janelle was sitting up front at the ceremony. I heard that Christine was sitting maybe in the row behind her. And then Cody's in the way back next to Robin. Janelle must have left Cody, and it must not have gone well for Cody and his ego for him to sit way in the back, because you know that he likes to sit up front and be close to the center of the attention, right? This is so important to me. And even though it's not confirmed, it still gives me hope, honestly, because watching this show, it's interesting, but it is starting to not be fun. It's not fun to watch a family just totally fall apart. Every episode, it's like another child comes on and talks about the heartbreak they're experiencing because of their father. The wives are talking about the turmoil that they're in, and the relationships are just failing. And it's like, what fun is that to watch? It's not fun. The only way that can feel okay, I think, to continue watching is the idea that there will be a redemption at the end, that the people who have been suffering will experience joy at some point, and the people who have caused the suffering will be held accountable. That's the only way that I feel like this show, like I can continue to really watch the show and feel good about it, is the belief that like it's gonna be okay. Otherwise, it's just like constant sadness and constant like just watching trauma and just terrible. Like, who wants to watch that for however long we're supposed to be watching this, right? So yes, seeing Cody sit in the back at the wedding, I liked it. I like it because it makes me think that Janelle left and that there is another wife, another sister wife, who is on her way to feeling the joy and happiness that she deserves. And I like that. If you watched the episode, let me know. I shared 3 things that stood out to me, but like, what stood out to you? And what do you think about Logan's wedding and where everyone was sitting? I think this is a big deal. I think it is. So let me know. And if nothing else though, we will plan to meet here again next week so that we can keep talking about this family and just hope that they get through all this okay. All right, bye.